Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Get ready for Talking Heads, the show where expert insights meet world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Brought to you by USA Global TV and Radio. Meet our distinguished presenters. From the great state of Texas, longevity expert, award-winning author, publisher, and distinguished Toastmaster, Red O'Loughlin. From London, England, soul heart awakener, novelist, vocal coach, and artist, Dr. Madeline Chan. Also from England, the Harley Street stress expert, therapist, ambassador for peace, and speaker, Carolyn Heward. And from Australia, ICF PCC credentialed coach, entrepreneur, and leadership coach, Mariska Dupria. Experience their expertise, connect with their wisdom, and transform your perspective. Watch Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. This video and its contents are the property of USA Global TV and Radio. All rights reserved. Terms and conditions apply. Visit usaglobaltv.com for more details.
Howdy, Red O'Loughlin here on Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Several months ago, I was involved very painful experience with shingles. I had a lot of neural pain issues, and looking at, no matter what I tried, it didn't work. I could use a little bit of ice to calm things down, but one of the things that I was seriously considering at the time was red light therapy, because I read, well, it's supposed to be pretty good about doing some kind of pain relief. So I was seeing a pain specialist at the time, and he was aware of it, but had never used it. And he says, well, if you have some success, let me know. Well, I did a little bit more research, and I talked about sunlight here, several weeks back, but I wasn't happy with the presentation. So I said, let me concentrate more on the red light aspect of it, because that's really and truly, I think, where I want to go. But it's hard to just pull red light out of all of everything, because there's so many benefits of light in itself. And so let me see here. I just got a deal from let's see here. Let me load up my slides. See if that will do. Oops, nope. Let me see if I can get my slides loaded. If not, okay. There we go. It's starting to come. Okay. There we go. Let me back up one here. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, production engineer. I really and truly appreciate that. Okay. So I was looking at, what do I really want to talk about? Well, I want to talk about red light, infrared light, because there's a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of benefits from other aspects too. So I said, well, let me start out with what would I do? And when I went into red light therapy, or red light and its health benefits, there's other things in there that also help. So make a little bit of, not a hodgepodge, but more inclusive of the topic of light therapy today. But this show is seen live streaming on Amazon Fire, Zizzle TV, E360 TV, YouTube, Android TV, Apple TV, social media, lots and lots of places. I have it live streaming myself on two of my Facebook channels, one for my author and one for my personal account. But these shows that I do on Talking Heads are for awareness and education. And I also have here, if you pull into my archives on the USA Global TV and Radio Network on YouTube, you'll be able to find all my shows. You'll be able to find everything that's archived, not only for Talking Heads, but for the Wise Ones and for the Corner Bookstore. As I said, I have some simulcasts. But anyway, that information, I provided some links there for those people who want to go back and see something over again or get some clarity. I'm a researcher, and I have never been working in the medical or pharmaceutical fields. I've just always been uh, in some aspect of manufacturing, reliability engineering, logistics engineering, quality engineering, uh, the fields that help support manufacturing efforts for years on the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but never actually been involved with anything medical or pharmaceutical. My wife came down with breast cancer almost 10 years, over 10 years ago now. And it kind of reintroduced my brain to chemistry. I said, whoa, let me kind of go down that direction. I'd written a couple of books on motivation, self-improvement, and then started getting involved with what happens in the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. If I treat a cause, I fix a problem. If I treat symptoms, I'll always be treating that. Well, I kind of got that focus from working for Halliburton. I was involved with a lot of the failures that were occurring in the field from the tools we manufactured. So I would be involved as the primary investigator for why did it fail? What can you do about it? And so that's the focus. And I took that focus and oriented it toward the human body. So I had my first degree was in chemistry. I didn't get a chance to do much with it because I got an invitation to Vietnam. But I have a total of 5 academic degrees, all in different subjects, 7 professional certifications. In the Navy 31 years, been to 61 countries, retired as a captain. I flew for 16 years as a naval flight officer. And the focus today is my cause and effect relationships, primarily from an age-related, a disease perspective. I've been married 56 years, 57 coming up here in a few months. 2 kids, 3 grandkids, and our first great grandson just celebrated his first birthday very, very recently. Best-selling author. I've written 8 books, published as an independent publisher, published almost all mine, I think, and one I didn't. But I've done another 40 books for other authors. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. I've written over 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn. And as I mentioned earlier, this is for educational purposes. On the USA Global TV and Radio Network, my show, The Wise Ones, for 2024, my presentations came in at number 2 and number 6 overall for the year. I thought that was very surprising, but anyway, it's just one of those things to talk about. I started a program before the end of the year where we talked about let's get ourselves set up for New Year's resolutions early. And I did, and I failed a little bit here, success here, but nothing consistent. I started out in mid 190s, kind of went up over 200 for a short while, came back down. This past week, I touched down below 190. In fact, I probably ought to update some of those things so it looks a little bit better. But I'm back on a losing streak. Last week, I was kind of a no change and plus. So things are looking good. I'm not too concerned about the weight. The one thing I'm more concerned about than anything else on that chart is visceral fat. I want to be able to remove that down into a safe level. I'm in an area where it's not too bad, but I would like it below 11, and that's kind of where I'm aiming right now. But mostly all, it's okay. I'm not at a plateau, but it certainly looks like I'm approaching it. So I'll keep doing this for a while longer. I'll probably change the format next week. When I'm looking at light therapy, I'm looking at health. I talk a little bit about radiation, but I'm talking about radiation not necessarily from sunlight, but more from a radioactive perspective, but it does include that. But if I had to give you any hints at all as to where you could find some of this information, my book, The Joy of Ageless Health, would be a particularly good book to look at. When I look at light therapy, and I'm looking at light as sunlight as the primary focus, also includes artificial, but it's been used forever and ever and ever to treat a lot of different things. We'll talk very briefly about solariums down the road, but in mental health and physical health, some diseases actually respond well to sunlight. And so if you look at the specific wavelengths of blue light, yellow light, green light, purple light, red light, infrared, ultraviolet, violet, all of those lights have a specific wavelength. And depending on what that wavelength is and how it's used, you can actually get some pretty decent results in various aspects of any kind of disease that light has a tendency to make improvements. They saw remarkable improvements on astronaut health using LED lights to cover some of the problems they have in space. But like anything else in life, when you're talking about your health, Always, always, always consult your doctor first if you're going to start something new. So if you decide to go out and buy a red light instrument of some sort, talk to your doctor first and see if there's a problem. If you're taking some medicines, talk to your pharmacy if there's a problem with interference between the medications you're taking and the lights. Basically, what we're talking about when I get into red light therapy is called photobiomodulation therapy, BPM. And they use it for a number of different things. They use it for wound healing, for tissue, for muscle repair, for collagen production. They use it in conjunction with other things. You can use it with various kinds of ointments and creams. I notice when my dermatologist wants to treat some kind of cancers, they can use a light therapy with a cream where it actually activates because of the light. These things can be done in a doctor's office. They tend to have a more powerful beam than what we buy and use at home. For Christmas, I bought myself a red light, not machine, instrument for lack of a better word. But it has yellow and it has green and it has blue and it has purple, it has red, it has white, it has a bunch of different colors. And each of them have different health aspects to it. But I look at the red light spectrum, and this is the entire spectrum. I'm looking at red light in a very, very narrow range. We look at a rainbow, and it breaks it down into the different colors. Well, when you get in that red and violet end of things, we end up with that infrared and ultraviolet and the ends of things that we really can't see because it just kind of blends into everything else. But the things that we're looking at is everything we see with light. On both ends, we got a little bit of extra that with certain instruments we can see or we can reproduce artificially and use in instruments. So the red light wavelength is 620 to 750. The 750 is kind of the upper range, but if you look at near infrared, there's 3 different areas of infrared, but near infrared starts at 700. So there's a little overlap. And some of the things that infrared gives you benefits for, red light will give you benefits for. And we'll go into a little bit of detail, but the therapeutic range, again, 600 to 750. And when you look at infrared, it's going to be 700 to 1,000. But it's used medically for a lot of things. I would ask my eye doctor the other day if he used it. He said, yeah, there are certain conditions in the cheat aging eyes that light therapy is actually a preferred method of treatment. A lot of the treatments are done for skin care, but there's a lot of general uses too. I mentioned a moment ago that infrared goes a little bit further, but infrared goes deeper into the body than red light, but they both penetrate. The deeper the body, a little bit different treatment. So if I want to get in more into muscle and into joint, into deep tissue, I'm probably more inclined to go with the infrared light than I am red light. But I end up with similar overall results. And both infrared and red light can be used in conjunction with each other. And in many cases it is, just because you get a wider coverage. Ultraviolet, this is the part that when we talk about too much sun exposure, this is bad for you. Cancer, melanoma, basal cell carcinoma, just all sorts of things. I'm a redhead. I go see my dermatologist about every 4 to 6 months, and I get these little things on my hands and arms and whatever that are called actinic keratosis. These are precancerous growths, and they zap them off with liquid nitrogen and basically kills them, and I'm good for another 6, 8, 10, 12 years. Sometimes I put a chemical in my face. It's a chemo called fluorouracil, and it attacks fast-growing cancer cells but doesn't do a thing to normal, healthy growing cells. So about every 10 years or so, I'll go through on my face, my head, my neck, my arms, my hands, and I'll do different treatments of that. I remember once over in Bosnia, I was going through a treatment on my face, and when all that stuff starts erupting, it feels like your skin is going to just fall off. Well, in the military, I used to be able to grow a beard way back when during Vietnam, but the modern military, unless you're in SEALs or some other special forces, you pretty much clean shaven all the time. So here I am going around Bosnia with my helmet, my guns, my flak jacket, and all the rest of the stuff, and I have a beard. But senior enough that nobody asked a question. Nobody, not even the generals, nobody asked. It just, okay, must be a reason. Uh, so anyway, UV is A, B, and C, but the UVA is at between 10 p.m. and 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's that real intense sun coming from your sunlight, and it's what you get sunburn from. It's what you get cancer. It's what you get really sensitive eyes with too much sunlight. And it can actually damage your DNA, and it's a cumulative effect. But not everybody suffers the same way. Depending on your age, your gender, what latitude you are. I'm in the Houston area. If I was in Minneapolis, it'd be a totally different experience. The amount of time exposure I could have in Minneapolis would be significantly different in the wintertime than it would be in Houston in the summertime. The color of my skin, the whiter my skin, the more I'm going to absorb. The darker my skin, the less I'm going to absorb in the same amount of time. But there's a lot of factors that go into how much our skin can tolerate before it becomes a problem. And UV is probably one of the ones you really need to look at. But you can't wear a hat, sunblock, long sleeve shirts, cover up with everything, because there's a lot of benefits from sunlight, a lot of benefits. Now, the UVA is pretty much blocked by a hat or sunblock and whatever. But the IR, the infrared, actually will go through your hat, through your clothes, through your skull, right into your spinal fluid, right into the rest of your body. So there's a lot of benefits from the IR aspect of it, and as a result, from the red light portion of it too. So if I look at just the ultraviolet light, there's a lot of issues because it comes in and it has several things that the light actually does in the skin. There's some hormones involved, and then it goes from the skin, ends up in the liver for a while, in the kidneys, and back and forth. And we actually end up making vitamin D3 and ends up in the bloodstream. So without the UV, we end up with a problem of not getting enough vitamin D3. What do most people do? They supplement. You're not going to find a lot of it from foods, just not a lot of it there. Now, I was doing a lot of experimentation 10, 15 years ago on vitamin D because my wife was going through chemo, and it was one of those things that says, we want you up here at 80 nanograms per milliliter, and she was down in the 50 range. And so, okay, well, let me try. And they said, okay, for adults, 800 IUs is what you're supposed to have. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, 800 isn't worth spitting at. It was worthless. You're not going to get what your body needs. Now, if you look at it, some of the standards used to say 30 was the maximum and 10 or 15, 20 was at lower end. Now the maximum is way over 100. You can really not have a problem, but 50 is what's considered minimum, 50 nanograms per milliliter. And the vast majority of the Americans don't have it. We just don't spend much time out in the sun. So as a result, a lot of your immune system and other functions are not at 100%. I test my vitamin D3 levels every year on my annual physical, and I generally run 100 plus to maybe 110, rarely below 90. And I try to keep it in that above 90 range most of the time because it is a healthy thing to be doing. But I also take 10 to 20,000 IUs a day in order to keep it there, depending on the time of the year. But UV light can also be used to treat eczema, psoriasis, vitiligo. It can be used to disinfect, to sterilize, lots of things that UV light is used for. But one of the things it does when it enters our body, it triggers endorphins. And this is one of those chemicals that makes us feel good, makes us feel better. It's a mood enhancer. And sometimes the UV light acts as a pain reducer. It's interesting how that overall works out. When I look at infrared and I compare it to the UV primarily looks at vitamin D3. Well, the infrared light, it penetrates, but it does a slightly different path. It goes all the way down to your individual cells. It stimulates the mitochondria to produce ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is the powerhouse of the cell, improves your energy levels and everything. It improves your circulation. It boosts nitric acid production in the body, which again opens up the blood vessels for more flow. It's been very, very good for pain improvement, for arthritis, for fibromyalgia. It's exceptionally good for lymphatic drainage, which is why they use infrared saunas as one way of increasing your sweating. Stimulates cellular repair through the mitochondria. Infrared light, if I'm looking at one therapy, that's probably the one. What would I do? That's the one that I'm going to look at more than anything else for my own health. But light therapy in general covers your primary hormones, your cortisol, your melatonin. The melatonin is one of those ones that the infrared specifically addresses in the cells, intracellular. Serotonin, again, a feel-good chemical. And light therapy in general, when you go to bed at night, the lights are off, your pineal gland will make melatonin, which puts you to sleep, but it only makes about 5%. When you're awake and you're outside and the infrared light's going through your body, you're making about 95% of the melatonin that your body uses to bump up and boost the power of the mitochondria in each of your cells. So it influences our sleep and wake cycles. You get out of that. If you get into a situation, I had a couple times during Vietnam, I'm flying and we're in the air literally 12 or more hours a day. And we take off, it's dark, we land, it's dark. And I remember walking out one day after 4 flights in a row, and I'm walking outside, and sunlight just seems so strange to have sunlight and walking. But just those little things you remember. Some of the light therapy has been used to stimulate hair growth. It's really good, exceptionally good for what they call seasonal affective disorder, SAD, a mood enhancer. So wintertime, we get less sunlight. We're all bundled up. We're inside. We don't see as much sunlight. That season of winter affects people negatively. And so by doing some kind of light therapy, it increases our mood. Many years ago, 100 years ago, they used to have solariums, and they were out where the sunlight was going through the glass. And some glass will block UV, some types of glass will not. And so you have to be careful of that. We have these low E lights now that block a lot of things if you're getting new windows. Some things to be aware of. But the solariums improved some people's health, but it also degraded other people's health because it exposed them to too much of the UV light that came down, to increased risk for cancer, increased other issues. So there was a thumbs up and a thumbs down for solariums. But in general, once they figured out what really worked, then everything now is done in a doctor's office rather than in a ward of a hospital. Red light and infrared therapy. Well, I told you earlier that red light is from 620 to 750. The infrared goes from 700 to 1,000. But what we call near infrared is that lower spectrum, that 700 to 850. And that's exceptionally good for cellular support. That's what we're talking about now, that creation of melatonin. It stimulates this, what they call a cytochrome C oxidase. That's increased. It's created in our cells. It increases our cells' production of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and it's one of those things that the cell just goes happy mode because I'm getting everything I can possibly use. It just goes out and it just warms up everything. So the near infrared red light, it's something that you might want to seriously consider for a health option. We'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end. But the near infrared, red light, they all support healing. They all support your immune system. They all increase melatonin. They all give you more ATP, more energy. And one of the things they found that also with the near infrared was it has a tendency to degrade what they call the neurodegenerative molecules that accumulate in the cells. We have things over time, they get worn out, they get used up. And I've mentioned autophagy many times in my talks about how the body cleanses itself real fast and the cells get rid of all the stuff that's not working and repairs everything, recycles. But one of those things that the light therapy does is it does have an effect on neurodegenerative activity. So it basically cancels out that kind of potential risk. We talked just a brief minute ago that infrared creates the melatonin in the body. But it also, the red light does the same thing because there's a little overlap there in that mitochondrial boost. But skincare, reducing wrinkles, reducing aging on the skin, improving the texture of the skin, improving the tone. Lots of things that red light and infrared light can do to help your overall appearance. Inexpensive in the big scheme of things, under $100. A lot of options. Go on Google, Amazon, YouTube. You'll find many, many things there. You know, the one I bought was like $70, but there was so many. They had the mask. They have actually a whole blanket. Yeah, some of them are over $100, but some of them are very relatively inexpensive. Some of them are just a little beam you hold up, but lots of options available out there for red light or infrared light therapy. One of the things that my machine that I have here, my instrument, is it gives me blue light and yellow light and green light and purple light and white light and probably something else. But blue light I'm getting right now because I'm looking at my computer screen. If I have my cell phone in front of me, I'm going to have blue light coming off of the screen. Blue light is one of the ones that over time, it really makes your eyes tired. It interrupts your sleep. Too much blue light is a problem. But if I'm using blue light as a therapy and I'm minimizing my screen time in front of my computer and other places, then it helps to reset my circadian rhythm. So if I'm going to bed at the same time every night and getting up, I don't want to be using blue light until the time I walk into the bedroom and get into bed. I need some time to downplay that blue light overdose and let the body readjust. It stimulates cortisol, wakefulness. It's a light therapy that affects our mood a little differently than the other ones, actually mood boosting. Blue light can be used to kill acne bacteria, so it's used as an acne treatment. But again, most of us, if we have any problem other than UV light from getting a sunburn, it's overexposure, eye strain, sleep issues, other things there. So beware, blue light is around you, but we just don't know that it's blue light. And you can go buy glasses. I have a screen on the front of my computer that's supposed to cancel out blue light. I have a pair of glasses I wear when I'm working on the computer to reduce blue light strain. So there's many ways to cancel, reduce blue light. But if you're just sitting around watching your cell phone before you go to bed, not necessarily reducing the blue light. Yellow light, again, another mood enhancement. Light in general increases serotonin levels in the body, makes us feel good. And as that process of feeling good, we're reducing any symptoms of depression and anxiety. So as I look at seasonal affective disorder, I'm not getting my sunlight that I typically get in the summertime because it's winter. Well, I'm going to look at higher cases of depression and anxiety and just not feeling good because I'm not getting that serotonin boost that I typically get in the summertime. Yellow light improves mental clarity. It reduces mental fatigue, improves blood circulation. It helps to rejuvenate skin. Just a lot of things that particular frequency range in white light does for our bodies. If I look at purple light, again, the light is calming, it's relaxing, it's reducing stress. It can be used for skin healing. It causes regeneration of skin cells. It can be used a lot of times. The purple is used with red light therapy, and it's also used to improve sleep quality. So it's just depending, what kind of problems you have. The different color light may be, maybe you get the red, and maybe you have a separate one for something else. But again, don't just go out and buy something. Go talk to a professional and find out, is this what I need? And if you're taking certain medications, maybe you don't want to be taking that because there can be an interference. So white light, that's the basic sunlight we see all the time. Again, our mood, our energy, our focus is all usually much, much better in the summertime than it is in the wintertime. Our circadian rhythms adjust a little bit because now we have 14 hours of daylight instead of 10 hours of daylight. The mental health, that seasonal affective disorder, can be ameliorated even with just regular white light from a lamp or from an incandescent bulb, from other sources, because I can mimic sunlight through that white light spectrum because it contains all of the light colors that were there, the full spectrum of a rainbow. Green light. This has been shown to be fairly decent treater for pain, particularly migraines. Used a lot of times in chronic pain management, reduces stress, anxiety, promotes relaxation. I think you pretty much find that from all the lights, but this green light is one that's more focused on pain than on everything else. Again, it improves our vision and visual acuity. And as an artificial light, the green light, it actually reduces a lot of eye strain. You notice in a lot of movies that when you are flying at night or you're in some kind of operation at night, they have red lights because it actually improves your night vision. You get any kind of white light or some other color, and it destroys that ability to see clearly and effectively at low levels of outside light. So when I'm looking at any kind of light therapy, but in particular, anything dealing with UV, anything dealing with IR, red light, or even just sunlight, it's the wavelength that I'm exposed to. It's how long I'm exposed to it, the distance, the intensity of the light, the duration, all the standard things that are out there. So if I'm outside, I'm just wearing a bathing suit and I'm cleaning the pool, I'm going to get a lot of IR. I'm going to get a lot of UV. I don't need to go in and get a lot of red light therapy for probably 2 days because I'm just OD'd my body on a lot of white light, which takes a while for the body to absorb and use. So if you're outside and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to come in and I'm going to get my red light therapy because I need it, whatever. And sometimes you do need to do that. But again, talk to your doctor about what is realistic. But if you're outside a lot, kind of back off on the inside treatment because there's issues there with the intensity, the duration. If you know what the risks are, then you are taking care of yourself, professionally. You are aware of things. But the biggest issue is probably with UV. And then again, knowing the risks of avoiding sunlight. I go outside, I know how long I can generally stay out there, and then I'm back inside again. Light therapy, wrapping up things, it works on acne, hair loss, skin conditions, some kinds of wounds, wrinkles in the skin, especially aging eyes. It's a benefit there, but it can also be a detriment. Pain issues, cancer primarily. There are some cancers that react to light therapy. I mentioned one with my dermatologist. They actually have a cream they can put on and then expose you to, I think it's UV, and it'll actually work a lot better than just using the cream by itself. You may find out that for your skin tone, for the type of instrument you have, maybe it's 10 or 15 minutes a day is all you need. But maybe through your doctor's advice, maybe you're using 30 minutes twice a day and you see results in days, maybe weeks, sometimes in months, depending on a lot of different factors. Everybody's different and their exposure rate and use in the body is also different. The medications, again, check and find out whether your medication can be affected by various kinds of light therapy. Best person to talk to is your pharmacist. I find that I can talk to whoever's up there and say, does this do this? And okay. And they generally know pretty darn close. Now, I will tell you kind of a funny story. Every time I get something, which is more frequently nowadays than it used to be, I said, can I drink and drive with this? And the clerk goes, well, I'll be right back. They run back to talk to the pharmacist. They come in, oh yeah, you can. I said, okay, really, I can drink and drive with this medicine. And then they start thinking, well, anyway, just my little part that I do for life. But if you need safety equipment for some of the things you're doing, you may need goggles, you may need something else. Make sure that you're fully aware of what can be done. If you're avoiding exposure to sunlight, make sure you know how long. Most things that I've read says 48 hours. So if I'm going through a major red light therapy process that I'm inside the house and I'm doing this or office or what back and forth, know what can hurt you. And you want to stop any kind of light therapy, no matter what it is. If pain increases, if redness increases, if your rash increases, if whatever condition you're treating worsens, stop. check with your doctor, find out what's going on, know when to stop. Generally safe for most everybody, but not every single person. Um, One of the things that I loved when I was over in Europe was what they call a mineral therapy, a spa. And I noticed here the last 20 years or so that the saunas that I'm seeing advertised on social media, TV, and other places use red light as the primary source. I'm not sure where I lost the volume at, but something just happened and I was just alerted by my team downstairs. So let me just real quickly. Red light sauna, traditional one's a heater. You can use that to pour liquid over it, get steam. It has a lot of benefits. I used to do that all the time in Germany. I was at a sauna 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. And my personal record is 51 minutes twice at 212 degrees. But I worked up for this for months. I was 20 minutes, 30 minutes easy all day long, no problem. But infrared saunas, you can't generate steam by pouring water over them. You'll wreck everything. You'll end up with 140, maybe 160, but that's being absorbed straight into the body. There's a lot of benefits from that. A lot of relaxation, weight loss, reducing stress, toxin removal, pain relief. But as always, consult first before you just arbitrarily start doing something. The one thing I liked about the sauna is I could go into one for, let's say, 155-degree sauna. Yeah, you're in there for a half hour, 40 minutes, and you come out and you're a pile of sweat. Oh, by the way, if you go into a German sauna, all you wear is a smile. That's it. You don't wear anything else. I wore a headband to keep from sweating all over everything. But they have very strict rules on sitting on a towel. You don't sit on the wood because of the sweat you're generating. But again, that's a different story. Maybe we'll talk about that one of these days on the show. But the saunas, I think, are some of the best things in the world. And now that you have infrared saunas that will actually create more melatonin in the body, which goes right to the mitochondrial in the cell, which generates everything. So between an infrared sauna, some level of fasting, you're cleaning the cells, you're regenerating your energy. To me, I don't know that there's anything negative about it whatsoever. So to me, I think it's a great deal, but I've accumulated a lot of experience over time. But for somebody who hasn't done it, please, please, please talk to your doctor first. So final wrap up. I have several books available on my website at redolaughlin.com, and it is up. Still a little tweak to go, but it's up. It's a new website. My books are available there. Red O'Laughlin, that's R-E-D like the color, O'Laughlin, OLAUGHLIN.com. So redolaughlin.com. I can be emailed at red@redolaughlin.com or red.olaughlin@gmail.com. But that is the way to reach me. My books are available on my website. They're available on Barnes & Noble. Yeah, they are on. There are about 15 or 20 different publishing sites that the books are becoming available as we speak. But if you need any of these, my website will be able to handle that, or just go to Amazon and order it there. And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to say adieu, and we will catch you next week, and have a wonderful time. Take care. Bye, y'all.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, Master the Art of Listening with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacalyn.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.